In St. Louis, ambush fans are ready for balls of fire. In Game 1 of the NPSL Championship Series, they got it. For St. Louis, everything went according to Doyle. David Doyle. He led St. Louis to a 26-6 win over the Cleveland Crunch and 5 playoff records. As for the Cleveland offense, it sputtered and stumbled and ended up on its back. Today, Cleveland hopes not only to get mad, but also to get even. Both teams have their sights set upward and are pointing toward the NPSL Championship Trophy. From the St. Louis Arena, it is Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series, the Cleveland Crunch and St. Louis Ambush. Hello everyone, I'm Dave Johnson and welcome to Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series on ESPN. In Game 1, it was an ambush, the St. Louis Ambush, defeating the Cleveland Crunch 26-6. But one thing we know about this Cleveland team, it is a resilient team. They know how to handle adversity. My broadcast partner is Art Kramer, and Art, it's only a best-of-5 final series. Cleveland has to get back into it today in Game 2. What are they going to do to get back in this series?
Well, defensively, Game 1 was an absolute nightmare for the Crunch. They need to play with more discipline tonight. The defenders have got to mark tighter, and their forwards and midfielders have got to pick up the St. Louis defenders running out of the back. All
right, often in the playoffs, we talk about hot goalkeeping. For Cleveland, Otto Orff is a very talented goalkeeper, but in Game 1, he did not have it. What's the story for today?
Yeah, I spoke with Otto just moments ago, and he said 2 things. One thing, he needs to get off to a better start than in Game 1. And the second thing was, he needs to distribute the ball better than he did in Game 1. He felt a few of those goals that the ambush scored was the result of his poor distribution.
All right, it is Game 2 of the NPSL Finals, and we are coming back with the starting lineups. It is Balls of Fire. Here today on ESPN, it is Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series from the St. Louis Arena. The St. Louis Ambush and Cleveland Crunch. St. Louis leads the series 1-0. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's contest. First for the visiting Cleveland Crunch, Otto Orff in goal, George Fernandez, Tim Team at the back, Tommy Tanner, Zorn Karic, Hector Marinero up front. And the starting goalkeeper, Otto Orff, only lasted 1 quarter the other night before being replaced. He'll try to go the full 60 minutes tonight. For the home team, the St. Louis Ambush, the starting lineup. In goal, Jeff Robin, the goalkeeper. At the back, Chris Kenny and Kevin Hundelt, the captain. John Klein, Joe Reiniger in the midfield. Ted Eck is up front. And an individual who did have a very good game in Game 1, Jeff Robin, in between the woodwork tonight. Again, Game 1, St. Louis, they were all over it, Art Kramer.
Yeah, that's right. You see David Doyle, a couple goals, Daryl Duran. It was D-Day for the Crunch.
Couple goals, a record 13 points in that contest. Game 1, David Doyle setting an NPSL playoff record with 13 points. Tonight's officials, Richard Herring, Tom Lauer, and Tim Bold. We're underway here from St. Louis, Game 2, NPSL Final Series. The Ambush are in the home white jerseys, the Crunch in the road red jerseys. Dave Johnson along with Art Kramer. And get ready for NPSL activity. Again, it's multiple scoring in the NPSL. 2 points for every even strength goal. Goals, as we see the shot by John Klein. Now Joe Reiniger the follow-up. And that's going into the seats. We'll have a goal kick for Cleveland. Again, the multiple scoring of the NPSL. 2 points, even strength goals. Goals beyond the yellow line are worth 3 points. That's 50 feet out. And there are shootouts and power plays. And we'll explain that when that becomes an issue. But they are worth 1 point. Or 1 point. Singular 1 point.
And Otto Orff's got to be happy those first 2 shots not on target there. He gets off to a better start than he did the other night.
Well, certainly St. Louis did live up to its moniker. Ambush, as we see Zoran Karic for Cleveland. The difference in the contest was the first quarter as St. Louis did ambush Cleveland and never allowed the Crunch into the contest. Tim Tebow now on the ball for the Cleveland Crunch. We're just underway, 4 15-minute quarters in NPSL indoor soccer. St. Louis Ambush, they were so stingy on defense the other night. So far, that's been the case as well. Kevin Hundelt leads the ambush attack. David Doyle, this is the guy who had 13 points the other night across the goal now.
They're going to call a foul on Ted Eck there in the box as he came across and fouled George Fernandez.
Again, if you could characterize this team, Art Kramer, I mean, St. Louis, they've got a lot of big, young American players.
Yeah, they like to play that ball up to the big target men, Eck, Moser, and Maurer, and then have players run off of those guys, and they did that well the other day in game one.
Zoran Karic puts it over Daryl Duran, but Jeff Robin is there for the St. Louis Ambush. Daryl Duran, who you just saw on the screen, is the player coach of the St. Louis Ambush. The head coach of the Cleveland Crunch is Gary Hinley. Having said that, you mentioned Ted Eck. He's a veteran, former national team player, so St. Louis does have some veterans, but by and large, it is a young team.
Yeah, and it was Duran who got St. Louis started the other day as he scored the first 3 points for St. Louis.
And then after that, his players took over. Kevin Gork, one of the rookies, on the ball. The Cleveland Crunch, Sean Medved. Steve Maurer and Gork pressuring. Maurer the taller two. This is Maurer, the turn, and Ottawa handles the hop volley, and now the head to Zoran Karic. Karic dumps Mike Laposha. And that's a foul. Actually, it's Mark Thomas that dumps Laposha, and it'll be a free kick for the St. Louis Ambush.
That's a good throw that time by Otto. We didn't see him do that very often the other day, but he starts off throwing that ball nice today.
Long outlet by Jeff Robin. The St. Louis Ambush again in the white jerseys, trying to maintain the pressure. Kevin Hundelt into the corner, and now the Ambush bring it back out to midfield. So the Ambush, they were well on their way the other in game one. David Doyle takes around one defender at this point of the contest. So already Cleveland's ahead of the game from game one. In the first 3 minutes, the Ambush had already taken charge. Doug Miller's on the ball now, Art Kramer, and he is back from injury.
Yeah, and David Doyle injured at the other end of the floor, and he's upset. He thought there was a foul that should have been called.
David Doyle still in some pain as the trainer's going to come on.
Watch again here. You see Medved. You can't really see it right there. It looks like an inadvertent elbow.
Now Medved gets him. That's Doug Miller on the ball. We're just talking about him back from injury, and Sean Medved plants the elbow on the chin of David Doyle. Again, he had 13 points the other night, 10 of which in the first half of play, 8 points in 1 quarter. There's Daryl Duran, the player coach of the St. Louis Ambush, talking to Richard Herron, senior official for tonight's contest. And there's a good look at the senior official. Saw him in the hotel lobby. He's ready to call a good game.
Yeah, you mentioned Dougie Miller. Dougie was injured, had that bad right ankle. He's back tonight, and that should help Cleveland's second line, as they were held to just 1 assist the other night by Sean Medved.
Zoran Karic in the corner for the Cleveland Crunch. He goes down, whistle, a foul. Free kick coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. We'll get to that a little bit later on. The Crunch go basically with 2 lines, and we'll explain how the St. Louis Ambush offensive strategy shakes down as well. Again, if you're new to indoor soccer, it is a lot like hockey. The substitution on the fly. That's the beauty of the NPSL. It's got a little of everything, mostly soccer. Zoran Karic, Hector Marinaro, smacked off the glass. Miller with the trap. Now Doug Miller puts it off the boards. He stays with it. That one off the glass. Lofts in the air, and the header by Joe Reiniger. And Jeff Robin has it, the St. Louis Ambush goalkeeper. Now the Ambush, again in the white jerseys, will bring it out. Reiniger is going to be double teamed now. Steve Kuntz, he's 6'5", just touched the ball. Kevin Hundelt now for the St. Louis Ambush. He had a nice goal in game number 1. Reiniger along the right wing boards, and he's taken down by Tim Tima. And it'll be a free kick coming up for the St. Louis Ambush. Quick restart, Steven Kuntz, and his shot is blocked by Tommy Tanner. George Fernandez leads the charge for Cleveland. Hector Marinaro, the shot, Robin the save. Sweeps it out of danger.
Oh, fine save there by Robin, Dave. He put out the right arm to rob Hector.
Now the Ambush. Klein cutting across the box. Now Cleveland, the Crunch. Zoran Karic. Line change, John Klein. Deb Reeves on the ball for the Ambush, and Reeves has to chase it back into the Ambush defensive third. Reeves had a good night the other night marking Zoran Karic. Look at Deb Reeves on your screen.
Yeah, he was called upon to mark the Z-Man and did a fine job. Z-Man still had 5 points, but below his average of over 7 points per game in the playoffs.
Ted Eck, big target man, former national team player, on the ball for the St. Louis Ambush. Into the corner now. This is Kevin Gork, a rookie for the Ambush. It's a some trouble as Otto Orff slides into that. We're going to have a corner kick. Ball played out of bounds by the Cleveland Crunch. Other end of the carpet, Jeff Robin this is called cutting down the angle, Art.
That's right, and a good left arm save there.
Game 2 of the NPSL Finals. Yes, goalkeepers have to come up big. This guy knows it. Daryl Durand puts it in. Hundelt the shot. Orff the save. Hundelt again a shot loose of the box. The Crunch can't clear it. Daryl Durand. It's blocked by Mark Thomas. Now Doug Miller chest traps down and will lead the Cleveland Crunch attack. Right there is David Doyle. Doyle intervenes. Wade Carbonero. Sean Medved. Daryl Durand, the player coach. And he's taken down for the St. Louis ambush. You mentioned as Cleveland's going to now come on the attack. I should say St. Louis is, but you mentioned Cleveland, the Z-Man. We should be listening again tonight for Zoran Karic, Hector Marinero, but we need guys for Cleveland like Sean Medved you just saw on your screen to step up.
That's right. Cleveland's second line of Miller, Medved, and Thomas had 279 goals during the 279 points. Check that in the regular season, held to just 1 point the other night. So this second line needs to step up for Cleveland here today in game 2.
Hector Marinero, part of that first line, though. Otto Orff, the goalkeeper. You'll see this at NPSL Soccer. The wandering goalkeeper, Zoran Karic. Karic likes to play with his back to the goal, but the St. Louis ambush, again, if they're equal to the task on defense. Hundelt, but Tim Tima intervenes and is called for a foul.
Timmy didn't think so. Strong challenge.
And again, as often is the case, he's the nicest, quietest guy off the field. But on the field, this is Tim Tima.
I thought it was a good call. Looked like he got his left arm in there.
Kevin Hundelt lost it over Orff, now loose in the box. Kevin Hundelt saw something there, Art Kramer.
Yeah, he saw Otto out of the net.
Hundelt, three-point attempt around the header. Orff the save.
On a great throw by Otto there.
Hector Marinero makes the turn. That'll be a free kick coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. Here it is. Three-pointer that was, an attempt. And Daryl Durand wastes no time. Other end of the carpet, Zoran Karic, the Cleveland Crunch threatening. Karic typically takes the restarts. Zoran Karic tries once, twice, 3 times, and St. Louis clears.
Yes, Zoran trying to get the ball to the back post of Tim Tima. St. Louis successfully defending.
Karic again for Cleveland. 0-0, no score. About 8 minutes left first quarter. Tommy Tanner. Nice sliding tackle by David Doyle, and the ambush again on defense. Now St. Louis charging forward. Steve Kuntz, his shot is blocked by George Fernandez, and Otto Orff will control it. The goalkeeper for the Cleveland Crunch, who was so maligned in the first quarter of game 1. Tonight, Cleveland seems to be settled down, used to life here in the Gateway City.
Yeah, they look much more organized defensively. You see them blocking shots, helping their goalkeeper out.
Can we make references to game 1? If you did not see game 1, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, the final score was St. Louis defeating Cleveland in game 1, 26-6. This is game 2 of the NPSL Finals. It's a best of 5. Game 3 will be in Cleveland. Hector Marinero for the Crunch. Puts it across the box. John Klein now for the St. Louis ambush. Marinero, Karic, the shot, it's blocked. Blocked by Chris Kenny, the shot. Carbonero for Cleveland, and again the St. Louis defense not bending. Deb Reeves and Chris Kenny strong on defense. Now Joe Reiniger for St. Louis. Free kick St. Louis. Look at this play. A good sliding tackle on the part of Joe Reiniger. Legs get tied up in the corner, and we'll have a free kick for the Cleveland Crunch.
There you saw those block shots. They've 3-3 here in the early going. The other day in game 1 at halftime, St. Louis led 10-2 in block shots at the half.
Jeff Robin snares it. All right, Kramer, you can sense the playoff intensity in this great soccer building. A big crowd on hand for Game 2. And they were cheering and going crazy before the kickoff. I imagine that'll happen when St. Louis scores. But so far, Cleveland is having none of that. And St. Louis, by the same token, also strong on defense tonight. David Doyle with another three-point effort. Mark Thomas for the crunch. Thomas trying to get some space. A little human pinball. Doug Miller, it's in the net. Two-point goal.
And there's what Dougie Miller can do for him offensively that Tim Zarambides couldn't do in Game 1. As Miller gives Cleveland the early lead here. Watch again, the ball just deflecting off players like the human pinball. And there's Miller just bouncing one in. Robin falling backwards. And they'll probably give the assist to Thomas.
So Doug Miller nets it. 6:15 left here. First quarter of play. Cleveland 2, St. Louis nothing. It's Balls of Fire. Watching Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series between the Cleveland Crunch and St. Louis Ambush. Again, the St. Louis Ambush won Game 1, 26-6, and lead the best-of-5 NPSL Final Series 1-0. The Ambush, led by player coach Daryl Durant and high-scoring David Doyle. The Cleveland Crunch were the dynamic duo of Hector Marinero and Zoran Karic. Again, the Crunch trying to even the series at 1 game apiece. Due to time constraints, we now move to action later in the game. Dave Johnson, Art Kramer back on ESPN for Game 2 NPSL Finals. St. Louis in the white, Cleveland in the red. Cleveland leads 6-4. Kevin Hundelt on the ball for the St. Louis Ambush, the home team. We are at the St. Louis Arena. Jeff Robin, the goalkeeper for St. Louis. Terry Brown lets it skim over his head. Mark Moser into the corner. Moser looking for space, makes the turn, Orf the save. Now the long outlet to Hector Marinero. Marinero, the cross, it's behind Thomas. St. Louis, some tenuous moments of defense. Now the Ambush, they may have numbers up. This is Steve Kuntz, the shot, it's in the net! It's in the net! Three-point goal! The cannon is stuck. Bushwhackers having trouble with the cannon, and of all times on a three-point goal.
Yeah, Cleveland had a good chance at the one end, and St. Louis comes back, and you see Kuntz fire. A shot Otto probably should have stopped, but it gets by him for 3.
All right, the cannon's not firing, but the St. Louis Ambush are. The Ambush lead the Crunch 7-6. Dave Johnson, Art Kramer back on ESPN. A three-pointer by the St. Louis Ambush, Steve Kuntz, and it goes ahead 7-6. And Bushwhacker finally got the cannon to go. But a bit of frustration for the Bushwhacker, because on a three-point goal, you want to fire the victory cannon right away. It's Steve Kuntz with the three-pointer to make it 7-6 in favor of St. Louis.
And Tima just stepped in front of Ted Eck that time. Watch again. Tima says, that's a charge. It's a charge.
Now you have to stay put, though, to get the charge. You don't move in. That's a moving pick. Get multiple scoring in the NPSL. It was a three-pointer from beyond the yellow line. Now the Cleveland Crunch played much better in this contest, but again, Game 1. Boy, look at what he was saying there. Enough is enough after the 12 first quarter points. And the second quote pretty much, I think, sums it up.
Yeah, they beat him in every aspect of the game. No doubt about that.
And probably even some aspects they haven't thought of. That was good. St. Louis Ambush on the attack once again. And a free kick for the Ambush. So the mood has shifted to St. Louis. But we should point out Cleveland has played a wonderful defensive first half.
And we saw Reininger score from just inside this spot the other night.
Now Bushwhacker, the mascot, is banging a drum behind the goal. That's the Bushwhacker drum. David Doyle, and Otto Orf snares it. Kevin Hundelt pressure on for the ambush. Now Tommy Tanner for the Cleveland Crunch. Zoran Karic. Karic, the shot blocked by Daryl Duran. Duran, a couple thigh traps, juggling around. Nice work. You do that at your camp, don't you?
Yeah, great technique by Daryl. Probably one of the top 3 players technically to come out of St. Louis.
Boy, now you're out of St. Louis. George Fernandez half volley with authority. Hector Marinero pokes around. Marinero again. Yep, Robert. Daryl Duran. Zoran Karic in there for Cleveland. St. Louis cannot clear it. And Tim Tima, I think, wanted a handball. Was that?
Yeah, and Hector also wanted a handball. He felt Daryl Duran hit that ball with his hand. Let's take another look. The shot bounces. Oh, looked like Daryl had the left arm out. That's what Hector was waiting for.
It looked like he actually moved his chest into it, though. Watch this again.
Tough to tell from that angle.
Yeah. All right, Hector Marinero, he has his opinion. Either way, we go back to live action. The ambush, the shot, the follow-up, Orf the save. Orf pokes it away.
What a save by Otto Orf.
Steve Maurer with that initial shot. And Maurer a little slow to get up. Deb Reeves for the ambush now. Chris Kenny. Chris Kenny. Looking for Mark Moser. Tim Tima. Well, Tima gets called for the foul. Now watch this, Steve Maurer.
Yeah, that shot pulled Otto out of position. But watch him recover.
Terry Brown with a follow-up, and it was Orf that did a wonderful job. But Maurer was upholding his back after that shot. It did seem like he shot it from an awkward angle. Awkward position, I should say. A free kick for the ambush as Doug Miller gets called for the foul as Deb Reeves knocked her out. Reeves,
and that's close to being a 2-minute there, Dave.
And that's what the crowd reaction was for. Again, there's penalties and shootouts in NPSL soccer. That pretty much stopped the breakaway. Steve Kuntz finagling around. Daryl Duran. Duran chips it into the box. Moser trying to make the turn back to Duran. Orf has trouble. Orf smothers it.
And once again, you saw the technique of Daryl Duran to just lift that ball into his target man.
A minute 49 left here in the first half. It's been an entertaining first half of indoor soccer from the St. Louis Arena. In the Gateway City, the St. Louis ambush. Now Doug Miller, Mark Thomas. Thomas back to Miller. Medved. Schmetzer. I think Thomas should have taken that initial shot way back when, but now the ambush gets called for over and back. Once you push it back past your own yellow line, you can't push it back. You look at the siege.
Right, and just before that is what you were talking about, Dave. Thomas probably should have shot. He needed to put a little more on the pass to Doug Miller at the far post.
Steve Maurer, meantime, is... Again, it looks like they're checking the lower back after he took that shot from, again, an awkward position. Marinero, Zoran Karic into that wall. David Doyle goes down. I think he took it in the face. That's what's so dangerous about facing a wall from Zoran Karic. Marinero steps over the ball. Doyle, you see there, left of your screen is looking down. Oh, it's a ricochet that gets him.
Well, thank goodness it was a ricochet.
Yeah.
And it's got him in the eye.
Yeah, that's a real break because he didn't take it to full speed, but Doyle is on your left. David Doyle, left side, 10X on the right. The shot, Doyle turns, off Eck, bam. One minute, 21 seconds left, and David Doyle just trying to clear the eyes, sort out the cobweb.
And you see Jerry Schlemmer there, the St. Louis trainer, attending to him. It looks like David's going to be all right.
13 points in game one of the NPSL Final Series. And the partisan crowd here at St. Louis responds. The Dublin Dynamo. He is from Dublin.
That's right. The only player on this ambush squad that didn't grow up in the St. Louis soccer system. 4 or 5 players from the Illinois area, but just over the bridge there.
Again, Doyle, boy, he was on target in the cards in the first game. Look at his rundown for a total of 13 points and some NPSL playoff records. He set 3 NPSL playoff records. Most points in the game, most points in a half, and most three-pointers. Minute left in the first half. Cleveland trails St. Louis 7-6. The Crunch with the ball. Karich! Zorin taking the shot. Now John Clyde for the St. Louis ambush. Mark Moser. And the ambush having trouble clearing out of their own defensive third. Ambush now bringing it up. Kevin Hundell. On the right side. Effort by Clyde. Kevin Gork to Hundell. Hundell off Tedek's body. All right, Kravers heading down toward the carpet to get the halftime interview. We've got 21.6 seconds left here in the first half. And a foul call on St. Louis. They do not agree, and a free kick for the Cleveland Crunch. 18 seconds left here. First half. Zorin Karich. Carriel running over it. Joe Reiniger. Shot is blocked. And that's how the first half will come to an end. But what a balls of fire first half. The St. Louis ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch 7-6 after 30 minutes of indoor soccer. We're coming back. Dave Johnson back in St. Louis. The halftime score. The St. Louis ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch 7-6. Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series. My broadcast partner, Art Kramer, is downstairs with Tim Tima of the Cleveland Crunch. Arthur?
All right, thanks. Thanks, Dave. Here with Tim Tima, the rugged defender of the Cleveland Crunch. 3-time defender of the year. Timmy, what have you guys done tonight that you didn't do in game 1 to be so successfully defensively?
Well, we're getting 5 guys behind the ball. We're stopping their fast break. And they're getting a little frustrated. Their 3 goals were on fast breaks, so if we continue to get 5 guys behind the ball and counter a counter team, we're going to do all right.
Yeah, the crowd not too happy with some of your play, getting on you. How does that affect a guy like you when the crowd's booing you? You're in the opposing city.
I've been around a long time. It kind of pumps me up, you know. The coach got on us the other day because we only had 19 fouls to their 35. So we're starting to mix it up a little bit. We're not playing dirty. We're just, you know, stopping them momentum by a couple fouls at midfield and stuff.
Yeah, Timmy, 2 goals earlier this year on ESPN2. Can we look for a goal from you here tonight?
I keep sneaking far post. You told me to keep shooting, and I kept shooting. But they're covering the back post pretty good on us, and I hope Hector can open it up for me.
All right, good luck, Timmy, in the second half. Back to you, Dave.
All right, thanks, Arthur. Again at halftime, the St. Louis ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch 7-6. We're back with more. It is Balls of Fire. Dave Johnson back in St. Louis at the arena at halftime. Game 2 NPSL Final Series. The St. Louis ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch 7-6. And let's take a look at what happened in the first 30 minutes of indoor soccer. Early on, the Cleveland Crunch, a little human pinball. You see it go off. Daryl Duran, the player coach for St. Louis. Doug Miller is right there, just back from injury for the Crunch to finish a 2-point goal. And the Crunch are on their way 2-0. But watch the effort here on the part of the St. Louis ambush. Tedek with the half volley that smacks off the glass. Joe Reiniger is right there to head it in. Makes the game 4-4. But again, the Cleveland Crunch, they lost game 1, but they've been strong in game 2. Zorin Karich freezes Chris Kenny, and Hector Marinero sweeps it by Jeff Robin, the ambush goalkeeper, and that makes it 6-4. And a nice flip for Cleveland Crunch, Hector Marinero. Again, at halftime, we stand 7-6. Dave Johnson now joined by the youngest professional public relations director in all of sports, Pat Berry of the St. Louis ambush. He is 18 years old, getting ready to go to college. And Pat, the first question has to be, how did you get involved in PR in the world of professional sports at such a young age?
4 years ago, I started running and gophering for the St. Louis Storm in the MSL. I kept my eyes open and my ears open. I learned a lot, and I just started excelling up. And when the ambush started, they offered me a job in the public relations department, and then after the director left, they offered me the job to do it on an interim basis until they could find someone, and I guess I did a good enough job to stay.
You certainly do a fine job. So you actually started this when you were about 14 years old.
Right, a freshman in high school. I just ran errands for the St. Louis Storm, and it escalated from there, I guess.
Well, it's a great lesson if this is what you want to do in life, to start early and young and be in the right place at the right time. What is the most enjoyable part of the job? And I should ask, do you want to continue to do this?
I definitely want to continue to do this. I enjoy it a lot. the best part, I think, is being a part of the team, going on the road with the team. I do the radio broadcasts as well. I'm the color commentator. So that gives me a chance to be with the guys, and when they win, it seems like I win, and that's really a lot of fun.
Well, Pat Barry, the youngest PR director at all of professional sports, thanks for joining us, and you certainly help us out a lot on ESPN, so pay attention and write this down, Pat. Our schedule coming up on ESPN, Game 2, April 28th at 1 o'clock. Game 3, 4, and 5. It's the Balls of Fire series, part of Awesome April. We're coming back, second half activity, Game 2 NPSL Final Series. Stay with us. Art Kramer back in St. Louis on ESPN. You look at the Cleveland Crunch getting set for the second half of play today. Look at Rich Ryerson and the rest of the Crunch. There's Zoran Karic and a very serious Gary Henley. They're obliging the fans, but no time to sign autographs, Art Kramer. This is serious business. Game 2 of the NPSL Final Series. The St. Louis Ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch at the half 7-6. You look at the stats, the second quarter summary. This is where St. Louis started to make some noise.
Yeah, you see Reininger, the rookie, first team all-rookie this year, scoring at the 24-second mark. And Hector scores for Cleveland, and then Terry Brown comes back with the second goal of this championship series.
But still a presence of Cleveland in the second quarter. Zoran Karic notching another one.
Karic for Smetzer, and then Steve Kuntz, another rookie, scores. So Daryl Duran getting some fine production out of his rookies.
Daryl Duran, the player coach, and there's the bushwhacker coming into your screen. This is a guy who had a tough first half of play. Couldn't get the cannon lit after the three-pointer, but was scored for the Ambush to make it 7-6.
And you saw Hector Marinero drill the bushwhacker early in that first quarter.
Indeed, a tough first half for the Ambush mascot. You look at the first half stats, and what jumps out at you here?
Look at those blocks. 19 blocks for St. Louis after 24 in Game 1. Cleveland ups their total to 6. They only had 2 blocks in Game 1, Dave.
And all around a better defensive effort. You see the Crunch, a better offensive effort as well. The shots on goal, 30-21, the difference there.
Yeah, Hector, actually Zoran Karic, 18 shots on goal in Game 1.
So already the Cleveland Crunch with a better performance, but much to their chagrin, they trail the St. Louis Ambush at the half 7-6. Again, we talk about the significance of today's contest. This is Game 2 of the best-of-5 NPSL Final Series. You look at Zoran Karic. Game 3 will be at Cleveland. Cleveland does not want to go home down 2 games to none.
Yeah, if they can win Game 2 here, they will bring the home field advantage back to Cleveland.
Now, this is the bushwhacker, the favorite Ambush mascot, and earlier he had some trouble lighting the candle of the bushwhacker cannon. Took about 5 minutes. Finally, he gets it lit. The exclamation on his part, and that was after the three-point goal was scored by the St. Louis Ambush. Steve Kuntz with that three-pointer. But I guess it surprised Bushwhacker so much he couldn't light the fire. The Cleveland Crunch in the red jerseys, the St. Louis Ambush in the home white. We're underway, second half. NPSL action here on ESPN. And the Ambush quickly looking to make a mark. Ted Eck goes into the corner. Tim Tima tears him down, and it'll be a free kick coming up for the Ambush.
You see Eck playing with his back to the goal. This is something St. Louis...
Now they want to dance.
That's just something St. Louis has that Buffalo and Harrisburg don't have, is as good target mans. And Buffalo and Harrisburg, the 2 opponents of Cleveland in the first 2 rounds. St. Louis with much better target men than either of those 2 teams.
Now, I just noticed Ted Eck has a bit of a resemblance to Mick Jagger. I don't know if that's, did you notice that?
I see that.
It's in the net. A goal. 2-pointer for David Doyle. And this time the cannon did go off. The Bushwhackers back in form, and so the St. Louis team. The quick restart, David Doyle right there. And that's what happens when they score in St. Louis. 9-6 now the score. St. Louis takes the lead.
And 2 guys that were instrumental in winning Game 1 hook up again. Duran to Doyle.
14:45 left in the third quarter. Since the second quarter in a row, St. Louis has scored early. Joe Reininger coming upfield. The ball goes out of bounds. Reininger frustrated because he knows he had Ted Eck overlapping on the far left side. It'll be a free kick. Kick-in coming up for St. Louis. Look at Reiniger, who scored tonight on a header. Now the restart, Kevin Hundell with a three-point effort. Zoran Karic and a foul on Daryl Durant. Karic draws the foul. See Cleveland in the red, St. Louis in the white jerseys.
And what a bomb that was by Hundell. And Eck at the far post just failed to nudge that one in.
So suddenly St. Louis leads Cleveland 9-6. Cleveland started out with the lead and for a while was keeping St. Louis at arm's length. The ambush playing at home here in the St. Louis Arena have a three-point lead, and Art Kramer, they cannot afford to go down by another goal situation, 5 points in this building.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. The next 4 minutes, very important here for the Cleveland Crunch to make sure this game doesn't get out of balance.
Ted Eck in the corner. You know, in the second quarter, when Cleveland went up 6-4, I sensed the next goal would be important. As it turned out, it was Steve Kuntz's three-pointer. There was the next one. Now, indeed, St. Louis has the momentum as Deb Reeves is put to the carpet by Zoran Karic, and the free kick for St. Louis. That's the frustration a bit of Karic now, Art Kramer.
Yeah, the game getting a little more physical to start this second half.
Ted Eck in position, can't finish. Tim Tebow puts back down to work. 2 defensive trouble signs, so each of the last 2 quarters have opened within the first minute a St. Louis goal. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me Cleveland having a little bit of a mental lapse to either start the quarters or finish them. As you pointed out, 2 goals in each of the last 2 quarters.
Coming in the first minute of the quarter, and that's something coaches don't like to see because it also sets the tone for the remaining 15 minutes of the quarter. In the corner, loose ball, and Glenn Carbonero, the defender for Cleveland, studies it for his goalkeeper. Out of work.
Yeah.
Andy Schmetzer with an on-court.
St. Louis gets back on defense. That was Kevin Dwarf.
Crunch of Cleveland, Sean Medved. Posha. Whistle and a foul behind by Glenn Carbonero. Free kick for the ambush. That's the other thing, Art, that I think, and really so far what I've seen in the first 2 games of the series, St. Louis using so many players. I have to believe that is somewhat of a factor.
Yeah, especially in a longer series, that depth will play a big part if this series were to go 5 games. But you're right, Moser, Maurer, and Eck, 3 great target men up front.
Daryl Durant, 3-point effort. Out of work the save. Durant, oh, there was a handball. Mark Thomas. And we talk about the St. Louis depth. Let's get depth charged. And it's the Kuntz-Eck-Reiniger line with the points.
Yeah, those rookies stepping to the forefront here in game 2.
David Doyle with a 3-point effort. Again, David Doyle had 2 3-point goals. That's from beyond the yellow line. Doyle, the shot off the save. 9-6 the score. St. Louis Ambush lead the Cleveland Crunch. Game 2 NPSL final. Glenn Carbonero. Tommy Tanner for the Crunch. Tanner trying to flick it into Marinero. It went off a couple of bodies, and Jeff Rowe was lucky to catch it.
Yeah, Cleveland's got to remain patient here.
Ted Eck and Andy Schmetzer. Ted Eck is for St. Louis in the white. He knocks it back to Terry Brown. Marinero puts it back nicely. A lot of work.
I was going to say, Cleveland needs to keep possession of the ball. They're only down 3. They can't be concerned with scoring goals right away. Keep possession and create chances off that possession.
Ted Eck gets called for the foul, so free kick. Look at Eck, former national team player. Tommy Tanner. Look at the St. Louis Ambush bench. Ike Beavis is pacing around a little bit. And there's Ted Eck. There's somewhat of a resemblance to Mick Jagger. Over the glass, it'll be a kick-in coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. So this is a restart. The Crunch so good at this. And here's our man, Mick Jagger. He's getting no satisfaction so far tonight. He needs to find the back of the net. Camera shy, Ted Eck. On the restart, Zoran Karic stands over. Karic, Marinero half volley, and hooks in the net. What a goal!
That great strike there by Hector. He missed the target on a few of those earlier tonight. This time bangs one off the near post. And the Cleveland Crunch fans, the Crunch Bunch, are happy. Now watch this ball skim off the inside of the near post, and the bounce goes Cleveland's way right there.
That makes it 9-8, 2-point goal. What a wonderful strike, though. That was a volley, Art Kramer. And you know as well as anyone, those can go down or those can head into the seats.
Well, that's why Hector had 113 goals during the regular season.
Now, what did he do right to keep it down? He keeps his head down as he goes into it. Explain that.
Head down, body over the ball, hit the target.
2-point goal. That had a little bit of a wrap to it there. Head down, body over. 2-point goal. 11:24 left, third quarter. We are in St. Louis, home of the National Bowling Hall of Fame. But soccer is the spherical ball of choice tonight. We have a whistle and a foul again on St. Louis, and same restart situation almost.
Yeah, and St. Louis giving away too many restarts here in the second half.
Again, same play, but this time Hector Marinero has to trap it down. Dev Reeves off to the races. Reeves coming up the left wing. This is Klein with the ball. And Cleveland to the red jerseys. Mark Thomas. Thomas gets off. Zoran Karic. Karic, three-point effort, and smacks the glass. Steve Kuntz, the fine trap. Foul and whistle. Cleveland with the free kick with 10:48 left here in the third quarter.
Yes, yes!
Marinero back to Ottawa. And Daryl Duran gets called for the foul, pushing Zoran Karic. Player coach Daryl Duran of the ambush. The quick restart. Marinero will be a kick-in coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. This action tonight has been balls of fire, and if you want more of it, you can have it in the comfort of your own home. 1-800-80-KICKS. It's $19.95. All the NPSL balls of fire action. Call now. 1-800-80-KICKS. It's only $19.95. Hector Marinero, Jeff Robin with the balls of fire. Save Marinero. Again. Watch this.
Great saves by Robin. If Hector keeps that ball on the carpet, he probably scores on this second attempt. He gets it up where Robin can save it. If that ball's low, it's probably in.
Meantime, Cleveland again thrashing on offense. Marinero goes down. Dev Reeves the call for St. Louis. A free kick coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. The Crunch have had the balance of the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, they've started to take this game over here in the second half.
Karic three-pointer. Marinero into the net. 2-point goal. And the Crunch have the lead.
And I would expect Daryl Duran may want to take a timeout here, Dave.
The Crunch pull ahead by 1 point, 10-9. Hector Marinero.
It's called being in the right place at the right time. The ball comes off the boards. And Hector's there, and he scores the hat trick tonight.
But he got behind the defense. Somebody should have come in to cut him off. This may demonstrate it. Look at what Jeff Roman was facing. And Marinero sneaking right in there.
Yeah, you're right. Hector unmarked at the back post.
All right, Cleveland now has reclaimed the lead, 10-9. Look at Hector Marinero getting the tally. His third 2-point goal tonight. So Hector having a good night. Tonight only one 2-pointer. Ottawa is down. He punches everyone away. The follow-up. And it'll be a goal kick. Corner kick, rather, for the St. Louis ambush. So the ambush get a corner kick. Daryl Duran goes into the corner. See Tenek bouncing around the box. Lawson Hunt dealt. Save. Jeff Robin has to come out. Doug Miller was pressuring there for Cleveland. 10 minutes left, third quarter. Game 2 NPSL finals. The Crunch lead the St. Louis ambush 10-9. Tenek in the battle with Andy Schmetzer. That's been a good battle tonight. Look what Otto Orff was faced with just moments ago. Lots of traffic and a 60-mile-an-hour delivery. Other than that, just another day at the office. Mark Moser. And Richard Herron, the referee, says not yet.
It's interesting to see how St. Louis lines up with a player in behind Otto. You'll see Ted Eck move in behind Otto Orff.
Look at Mark Thomas, Sean Medved, the wall. There's Otto Orff, a veteran of many NPSL wars. Two-man wall. We'll try this again. David Doyle this time to run over. Doyle slots it in. Doyle tries to stay with it. Now Doyle maintains. Doug Miller, though, leads the charge. It could be a 3-on-1. Doyle from behind. And a free kick coming up for Cleveland, but they wanted a penalty.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of difference between that foul and the one that Doyle got called for 2 minutes earlier in the game. Watch again. Doyle from behind.
Zoran Karic, the restart. St. Louis in trouble. The ambush. The only argument you would make is there's not as great. Karic again, 3-point distance instead to Mark Thomas. Mark Thomas pounds it in. It looked more like there was some contact, but Miller may have taken more of a dive, but hard to see from that. St. Louis. George Fernandez clear. Again, they've got numbers up. Hector Manero cutting right wing. Zoran Karic still trying to split the defenders. He runs into Gerald Duran. Duran can't clear. Tommy Tanner now. Dev Reeves is on him. Reeves all over Tanner. Around the boards they go. Tanner, play on. Karic. Zoran, Gerald Duran for St. Louis around the glass. Mark Moser looking to bring it out for the ambush. Moser trying to dig in there. And a foul for Cleveland, so a free kick coming up for the St. Louis ambush.
Tima shows you what he thinks of that call.
Kevin Hundell into the corner. Mark Moser. Back to Hundell. 8:44 left, third quarter. Cleveland now, the crunch in the red jerseys, trying to get out of their defensive third. Mark Moser. Got Terry Brown in the middle. The ricochet out the boards. Kevin Gwart comes in there for St. Louis, but Cleveland has it. Come on! Tommy Tanner. Kevin Gwart marking it for St. Louis. Tanner lost one over to Fernandez. Fernandez, nice move. Shot, Ruben save. Fernandez again across the box. Tanner in the corner is double team. Now, pushing and shoving. Lauer, the referee, clears about. Karic, the restart, it's in the net. 2-point goal for Tommy Tanner.
A great shift that time by the forgotten man on that Marinero and Karic line, Tommy Tanner. As he gets back post and the Z-man spotted him up on the free kick. A little toe pass. And look at Tanner sneak in.
Tenek actually moved his right leg, and that opened up the slot.
And it looks like Hundell might have slipped on the play.
The ambush have called a timeout. The St. Louis ambush now trail the Cleveland Crunch. 12-9, Game 2 NPSL Finals. Duran. That's not the rock group, but Daryl Duran, the player-coach, number 7 of the St. Louis ambush. His ambush trailed the Cleveland Crunch 12-9. The ambush in the white jerseys, Cleveland in the red. Ted Eck poking along. Eck into the boards. Eck stays with it. Bodies all over the place. David Doyle now. But Glenn Carbonero brings it out for Cleveland. Carbonero. And there's some bumping going on. David Doyle. Carbonero gets back. Doyle steps in there. Doyle keeps it alive. Comes up with it.
You talk about letting them play on.
Orff waits for the traffic to clear. So Cleveland with 2 unanswered goals to reclaim the lead. They were down in this contest, actually 9-6. So actually 3 unanswered goals. Andy Schmetz Sir Jeff Rover, the save for St. Louis. The outlet to Joe Reiniger. Reiniger, the bullet off the glass. Steve Kuntz. Fernandez now comes up with it. George Fernandez to Dougie Miller. Doug Miller for Cleveland. A couple of nice moves. The shot. Chris Kenny, the chest trap.
Yeah, you mentioned the 3 unanswered goal, Dave. I thought Darryl Duran may have taken a timeout after that second goal. He elected not to, and the crunch made him pay with the 3rd goal of this quarter.
6:31 left here in the 3rd quarter. Again, St. Louis won game 1. Cleveland trying to get the split before game 3, which is in Cleveland, in best of 5 series. Chris Kenny. Reiniger trying to get through the defense for St. Louis. Cleveland, the crunch with good defense on the part of Steve Kuntz and Kenny. Kuntz pushes on Kenny. He's not going to take it. Kuntz now upfield. Along the boards. Darryl Duran, the player, goes back on the carpet. Kuntz. The shot by Reiniger and Darryl Duran. Player is down for the Cleveland Crunch. That's Marinero. Holding his head. And the whistle will blow. And Manny Economos, the traitor. And Art Kramer, can you help me out here? I did not see.
It was hard to see. Hector, nice defensive play by Hector.
Remember that plywood of the boards, just like in hockey. Marinero. Well, not there. Let's see. He goes down. Oh, Mark Moser lands on his head.
Moser just sat on him.
Well, let's see. Mark Moser is 6'1", 185 pounds.
Let's hope Hector's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a... Probably would have been a little bit better off. He just banged his head against the boards. Hector Marinero gets sorted out. We're going to come back. The Cleveland Crunch lead the St. Louis Ambush 12-9. 5:45 left here. 3rd quarter, game 2, NPSL Finals. Dave Johnson, Art Kramer back in St. Louis. The Ambush trail the Cleveland Crunch 12-9. Darryl Duran for St. Louis. Duran gets it in close, but I don't want if the goalkeeper for Cleveland comes up with it. And they'll wait for that traffic to clear. Again, the Cleveland Crunch with 3 unanswered goals. Multiple scoring, though, in the NPSL, so that 3-point lead by Cleveland is not as daunting as it may appear for St. Louis. Ball kicked into the crowd, though. We're going to have a kick-in coming up. A battle for the ball along the concourse. Look at the 3rd quarter situation, and that's where Cleveland's taken over after a good 2nd quarter by St. Louis. On the restart, Zoran Karic. And this is where it's so dangerous. Doug Miller in traffic, St. Louis defense. Miller now races back. He's got 2 ambush players, and Miller just kicks it away. Kevin Hundell, Ted Eck. Eck for the ambush. Eck looking to get that open slot. Kevin Gork, now Darryl Duran. They move it around. Hundell. Look out in the crowd. Goal kick Cleveland. Well, the crowd is now 11 throw-ins tonight. But I don't know. I think the crowd tonight is about 4 misses. They've got to get it over the glass.
How about the guy in the front row with the left hand, though? A la Jalen Rose.
Now, there's been some good throw-ins tonight, but all in all, I think the crowd needs to work on it. Wolf, there it is, and here we are in St. Louis on ESPN with 4:51 left in the 3rd quarter of play. Free kick coming up for the Ambush. Look at Terry Brown. Chris Kenny puts it in play. Kevin Gork, one of the rookies. Terry Brown in the corner. The rookie Gork played off the ball. Zoran Karic puts it off the referee, Richard Herron. And it'll be a kick-in coming up for St. Louis. Because the referee is part of the field of play. Look at the Cleveland Crunch bench. Gary Hinley, the coach, just leaned over and George Garrett.
Even the Z-Man laughing about that one.
He doesn't laugh often on the field. The ambush, John Klein into the corner in your living room. Orff makes the save on Orff for Cleveland.
That's a good look from that angle.
Long outlet looking for George Garrett, and Jeff Groban takes it on the one hop.
Playing catch with goalie to goalie.
Those talented arms, because that's a long field. 200 feet long. Klein gets in behind defense. And there you see Otto Orff, who's got a rifle, but Karich stood up by Chris Kenny on defense. St. Louis, the ambush looking to counter.
Time.
Chris Kenny. Sedek. Good defense on Cleveland's part. They're behind the ball, but here's Mike LaPosha with the drop. Off the dasher boards. That took a wicked hop. At the top, Klein, the ricochet cover. They were there. 4 men back in a diamond behind the ball.
Yeah, St. Louis with some good ball movement to get the shot, but not hitting the target on the open shot.
Nice ball to Tanner. Nice block by LaPosha. And Jeff Groban comes on with it. So we're seeing great defense really at both ends right now, Art Kramer.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the play of Tommy Tanner here in the second half. He's picked up the game, his game, and it's helped the crunch out here.
Steve Kuntz. David Doyle for the St. Louis ambush. Doyle!
And Dave, in game 1, those shots were finding the net, and today they're hitting off the post.
Game of inches. Doyle. Again. That's who they need to get uncorked, though, right now, is David Doyle. He's going to have more of a presence in this game, I think, for St. Louis to succeed. Doyle with another effort. Tim Tima, our halftime guest. Doug Miller, the dummy. I mean, Doug Miller personally the dummy, but he dummied over the ball. And it was going to go after Steve Kuntz. Ahead now to Mark Moser. Out is Otto Orff with the chest. Tima. His old Pele Tima, who scored well on television, but now Tanner. He runs over the ball. Mike LaPosha. Tanner is down at the other end. LaPosha for the ambush. And Tim Tima tackles him. And now Tima going after him. And that'll be a 2-minute penalty plus a shootout. Tima just started pounding on him.
And I think Tima a little bit upset on the shot of Tommy Tanner at the other end of the field. Timmy sticking up for his little buddy there. And you see...
Well, let's see what happens. It starts this whole thing. Tanner is furious. He's trying to get a referee, Richard Herron. It started at the end of the carpet where Tanner ran over the ball. And I think he got an elbow from Mike LaPosha. Then Tim Tima tackled LaPosha.
Oh, what a right hand, right arm to Tanner's face. Wow. Watch again. Boom.
That's Mark Moser, all right? But this is not the guy that did the elbow. This is or is it? Is that Moser? That is Mark Moser. Tim Tima just takes him down. That's LaPosha, isn't it?
That's LaPosha.
All right, so Moser,
keep it rolling, though. And let's see the aftermath right here with Tima.
LaPosha was laughing, and Tima just goes in after him. Now Hector's right there to try to break it up. And the card quickly out of Richard Herron's pocket. So what happens here, Tim Tima takes down Mike LaPosha and just starts punching him.
Tima's going to get 2 and a 5. I'm not sure if they'll have to play 7 minutes shorthanded, but they said 2 for holding and then a 5.
Now Tommy Tanner got an elbow, and Richard Herron said, get off the field. Mark Moser came in, but again, from the angle we were at, Art Kramer, a difficult situation. situation where Moser was running over the ball.
Oh, I don't know. It looked like a blatant right elbow to the face of Tommy Tanner.
All right. George Hoffman's not happy. David Doyle's going to take the shootout. The shootout for the St. Louis Ambush, and then they'll get a power play. Crunch lead 12-9. Doyle, it's saved by Ottawa. So they don't get the 1 point. But a 2-minute power play coming up for the St. Louis Ambushers. Tim Tima. Well, as Art Kramer called, he thought a blatant elbow on the part of Mark Moser. The only reason I was wondering, I mean, Tanner came into the ball and literally ran over it and seemed like he collided, but this is the shootout. Doyle the save order.
Well, the play started by the missed trap by Tommy Tanner.
Right, exactly. And then Moser, but clearly that elbow was up.
I think that's what Tima saw, and that's why he retaliated. Not on Moser, but
on Laposha, who is the unwitting recipient of Tima's aggression. 2:03 left, third quarter. Cleveland still leads 12-9. Look at the St. Louis power play. Look at the Cleveland penalty killing.
And this is going to be a big power play for St. Louis to try to get them back in the game here. This could be a big momentum swing.
Well, they already missed the shootout attempt, so Cleveland already has some of the momentum. Carbonero, Daryl Durant. Durant. Joe Reiniger off the save. Reiniger the challenge on Schmetzer. Schmetzer, Daryl Durant the trip. And a free kick for the Cleveland Crunch. Minute 37 left, game 2 NPSL final series of the third quarter. Karich, he's manhandled by Durant, acted company. St. Louis to get on the power play, though. They've got to get it upfield. Minute 23. David Doyle. Here we go. Doyle and Karich. This could be shorthanded. This would be worth 2 points. Here comes Karich to Carbonero. It's into that 2-point goal for Cleveland, shorthanded. It's 14-9. And now Tima's going after one of the St. Louis fans. Meantime, the Crunch is celebrating, and George Hoffman smiling, the owner of the Crunch. Dr. Abraham Awaba not happy, the owner of the St. Louis Ambush.
Watch again. The Z-Man, the Carbonera.
So 14-9, Carbonero makes it. The Ambush still have a power play. That's a little consolation. Let's see Tim Tima throw some water at one of the Ambush fans in the front row. But the Crunch players do not care about the activity off the field. Gary Henley, the head coach of the Cleveland Crunch, a minute 12 left. It's been an entertaining game. St. Louis police is there, and they're trying to sort out the penalty box situation. You see Tim Zeramitis there. He will come on when the 2-minute is up for Tima. They're trying to sort out, have the trial in the front row, if you will, of who did what to whom. There's your...
Oh, you can't take Tima to jail for throwing water on a guy.
No, that's not a felony here in St. Louis. All right, the Ambush on the power play for the next minute and 3 seconds, basically the balance of the third quarter. But Cleveland has now rattled off 4 unanswered goals.
And that's a handball outside the box. That should be 2 minutes.
On a wharf.
Any handball outside the box by the goalkeeper, whether it's intentional or not, Dave, it's 2 minutes.
Hector Marinero. Jawing. The free kick coming up for the Ambush is jagged moments here. Doyle on the restart. Carbonero comes out. And he runs out. Joe Reiniger. Free kick coming up for the Ambush. 47 seconds left in the third quarter. Doyle. Back to Durant. Doyle. One-point goal for Mark Moser.
Bushwhacker gets the cannon working, but great ball movement that time on the part of the ambush as Doyle spots Moser at the far post.
So Mark Moser makes it 14-10, and it's now a 2-goal deficit for St. Louis. David Doyle the assist.
Yeah, great first-time pass by Doyle. And Moser, who scored 52-point goals during the regular season, finally gets on the board tonight.
So that's a one-pointer, so they do not convert on the shootout, but they do convert on the power play. 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. St. Louis ends the string of 4 unanswered goals by Cleveland. St. Louis does have a 3-pointer tonight for this time. Three-pointer. Kick rather for St. Louis ambush again. NPSL scoring. If St. Louis hits a 3-pointer, they're within 1 point. Whereas if Cleveland hits a 3-pointer, it's a whole different scenario. Kevin Hundell stands over the ball. Hundell, Durant, studies it. Ahead to Andy Schmetzer. Durant steps in. And a free kick coming up for Cleveland.
And look for Cleveland to possibly take a timeout and get the 6th attacker on here with 9 seconds left. To set up this free kick. This would be a chancy move if they would do that.
So free kick coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. Again, they're up 14-10. So do you take that chance, Art Kramer? Zoran Karic runs over it. Hector Marinero in the corner to Karic. Hundell the header. 10-F. And the ambush on the attack. And out of time. Well, actually 0.2 seconds. 2/10 of a second, so the St. Louis ambush going to restart, and yes, you can score in 2/10 of a second in indoor soccer. Quick restart, not like that though. So 45 minutes of indoor soccer in the books in St. Louis. Huh. It's been good so far. The Cleveland Crunch lead the St. Louis ambush 14-10. We're coming back with our Kramer in St. Louis. Zoran Karic, Hector Marinero, the dynamic duo. They have been more dynamic tonight as Cleveland leads St. Louis 14-10 heading into the fourth quarter of play.
And for Karic, 4 assists in that third quarter alone. A new NPSL record for the playoffs. 5 for the game, ties an NPSL record.
All right, here we go. 15 minutes of indoor soccer left, unless it goes to overtime. St. Louis in the white jerseys, Cleveland in the red. Again, it's multiple scoring NPSL style, so this 14-10 business is not a big lead by any stretch of the imagination. The ambush quickly getting in position, scoring position. Daryl Durant. They attempt. Kevin Gork gets in there. Duran, though, stays with it. Duran goes to the carpet. And a foul free kick coming up for St. Louis. The third quarter was all Cleveland Crunch, specifically Hector Marinero and company. And that's the difference in this contest. The Crunch at one point had 4 unanswered goals. Reiniger, the header. Mark Thomas smacks it around the boards. All right, Kramer, your prediction was if it was a close game going into the fourth quarter, you would give the edge to Cleveland.
Yeah, I just think their experience in the playoffs would pay off. As it is, they're up by 4 heading into the fourth.
St. Louis ambush. Joe Reiniger, Mark Thomas is there. Reiniger goes into the corner. Sean Medved, good defense for Cleveland. But Reiniger, good pressure for St. Louis. Tim Dimas still in the penalty box. Got the 5-minute misconduct. It's in the net. Terry Brown, 2-point goal. Now Mark Moser at that. Back to Abraham Waba, the owner of the ambush, and there's the bushwhacker. Mark Moser.
Well, Moser coming to life here. Watch him redirect the ball with his left foot here. He's a left-footed player. Look at that. Probably probably should have hit it with his right, but redirects it with the left. Beautiful touch.
Mark Moser. Makes it 14-12. The ambush now within 1 goal. The assist goes to Chris Kenny. And Moser, he wants to work the crowd. Nice bolt. We've seen some flips tonight. And that one, if he just one more step, and he was into the 3rd row. Abraham Watman's got the beat. Not the go-go song, but just the St. Louis Ambush steal the kickoff. Deb Reeves. Reeves sandwich along the boards. Richard Herron.
Not a good foul by Ryerson.
Rich Ryerson gets called for the foul. Look at Hector Marinero. I think one thing we should point out is, I mean, the officials tonight, this has been a big crowd, intense game, and they've done a good job of keeping everything sorted out. Kevin Hundell, 3-point attempt, the ricochet. David Doyle goes for the header. Tanek, the chest trap. The ambush trying to stay with it. Eck goes down. Play on. Hundell in the corner for Doyle. There's Eck off the post. Tanek off the post. The ambush stay with it. David Doyle. Tanek again. Eck, the ricochet. Warren comes up with it.
Great pass by Doyle to Eck.
This is balls of fire action. If you want to see more on home video, it's 1-800-80-KICKS, the NPSL final series action with a capital ACT.
Cleveland wants to slow it down here, Dave. Keep a little possession. Run that clock.
Again, 1-800-80-KICKS. You got to get this video. It'll get you through the summer when you don't have NPSL action. Zoran Karic, Jeff Roman handles the one-up. Brown now, who I tried to give a goal to earlier. Looks a little bit like Mark Moser. David Doyle. Oh, swats at it with his meat hook. And now, the crunch. Cleveland, nice ball for Zoran Karic. Look at Chris Kenny on him for the St. Louis ambush. Karic and Kenny, the battle in the corner. Kenny goes after it. Tim Tima, an interesting spectator. Whistle foul on Chris Kenny.
And Karic is a strong player.
Quick restart. Fernandez miskicks it. Doug Miller gets in there. Jeff Roman. Now St. Louis. Moser's free. Here comes Moser. The shot. The ricochet. Shot again. No one is sitting down.
And Moser had Hundell on his right, but didn't see him.
Terry Brown. Brown is it up. Wow.
Well, Terry Brown had just tied the game for St. Louis, but Andy Schmetzer retaliates
and makes it 16-14.
Look at this shot. He rifles one. Pass Robin.
You know, it is balls of fire action here in the NPSL. And as you know, we are on ESPN today, but we are also on ESPN2. And on ESPN2, we don't have to wear ties. I got to loosen the tie now, Art Kramer. I'm sorry. It's gotten to that point of the game. I can't stand it anymore. 16-14. Cleveland keeps that arm's distance on St. Louis. The header by John Clyde. Tanek now for the ambush. Get the ambush in the white jerseys. In the net. Save. Louis. You're looking on Orfair. In the box, Kevin Gork. And Orf has to make the foot save after it was redirected by Mark Thomas.
Yeah, you think it's wild now. Wait till Tima gets out of the box.
Tim Tima still there for the misconduct. John Clyde. Ricochet. Orf handles it. Right on the line. Tim Tima, a little ice to the air. What's going on there, Art Kramer?
NPSL.
You don't know. You can't stop laughing. 25 seconds left on the Tim Tima penalty, but he cannot come out until there's a stop and play. Cleveland, the crunch. Carbonero, a defender. The shot. It's blocked by Daryl Duran. Now Kevin Hundell sweeps it away. The St. Louis ambush probing for an attack. Tenek. Steve Kuntz down to David Doyle. Doyle. Here comes Kuntz. Andy Schmetzer. Good defense for Schmetzer. I tell you what, Andy Schmetzer owns a coffee shop near Cleveland, and he's playing on some high caffeine tonight, that guy.
As Schmetzer played midfield for most of the season. Then with the acquisition of Dougie Miller, they moved him to the back. But still being able to go forward and score goals.
Long outlet by Otto Orf is handled by the St. Louis ambush. And there'll be a free kick coming up for the Cleveland Crunch. Tim Tima is back on. So Tima,
and this is the part of the field Carriage like to shoot.
Carriage off the glass. Cleveland leads 16-14. George Fernandez. Tommy Tanner in the left corner. Tanner gets some space. Across the goal now in the net off Chris Kenny. Tom Tanner.
Well, it was a lucky bounce off Chris Kenny, but some good work by Tommy Tanner to hold the defender off.
18-14.
Watch right here. He holds the defender off. Makes a good turn, and then that ball bounces off Chris Kenny.
He's trying to control it, and instead he knocks it in. One thing there, though, Art Kramer, as you look here at the replay, Tanner was given a little bit too much time. I mean, should somebody have come in at that point and challenged him?
Yeah, well, as I said,
everyone's frozen there at that point.
Strong move to hold the defender off for a little guy like Tanner.
Chris Kenny, who has done so well on defense in both games of this series. But the fans here in St. Louis maintain their belief. 9:50 left in the game for Tommy Tanner's second two-point goal of the night. So the Crunch lead 18-14. Richard Herron and the referees having a discussion. And Art Kramer, what would this discussion be about?
Well, they're going to give a card to Tima. He might have come out of the box too early. I think he probably exited the box too early.
Well, he certainly is getting a lot of camera time in the last 10 minutes, but not the kind of camera time he'd want. Again, there's a little bit of a Christopher Lloyd look to him.
He wouldn't be allowed to leave that box unless the third official would have sent him out. And
well, that's the other thing. So why would he get the card?
All I could think of is that they sent him out of the box too early. And now they've corrected their mistake, and they're giving him 2 more minutes. I'm not sure if Cleveland would have to play shorthanded here, Dave.
George Hoffman, the incredulous look on his face, the hands spread out.
And you see that ring. He'd love a championship ring.
Yep. So the situation here is Tim Tima was supposed to go to the bench. And actually, we called that live because he was darting across the field. And I thought he was going to the bench. Then all of a sudden, there was the free kick where Zoran Karic started the whole play, which resulted in the Tanner goal. And Tima just stayed on the field. Well, all right, look, this is what happened. Tima comes out, drops the ice bag. That he's allowed to do. He's going to the bench? No. A little detour there, makes a left turn. And jogs around, and there'll be the free kick. So Tima is back where he started from.
It doesn't look as if it's going to hurt his team any. They're still going to play 5 against 5. And St. Louis, after a 3-goal run, Cleveland comes back with 2 of their own to halt the St. Louis momentum.
Indeed, and they lead by 4 points right now, 18-14. And on the restart, Deb Reeves sends it into the seats, so we'll have a kick-in coming up for Cleveland at the other end of the field. 9:45 left in the game. Plenty of balls of fire action left in this contest. We've certainly gotten what we came to see today, Art Kramer.
Yeah, this is the type of game we thought we'd see in Game 1, but the series just starting to heat up here in Game 2.
You still have your tie on completely. You're not even loosening. I don't know how you do that. Restart. Daryl Durant puts it back to goalkeeper Jeff Robin. Robin, long outlet upfield. And the ambush now controls midfield. Deb Reeves. Daryl Durant. Mark Moser stepping in front of him. Moser stays with it. Moser trying to create some space, leaves it for Durant. They get a little bit too fine with it. Durant goes down. Reininger waits for his coach to get up. Mark Moser chest traps it in the corner. Turns, fires, it's blocked.
And Daryl limps to the bench, and he got whacked by Andy Schmetzer.
Jeff Robin now. 18-14. This is Game 2 of the NPSL Finals. Cleveland leads St. Louis. Best of 5 series. Game 3 is in Cleveland. A shot by Deb Reeves. Reininger comes darting through. St. Louis wanted a handball on Schmetzer. Andy Schmetzer on the ball. Zoran Karic for the Cleveland Crunch. Look at Daryl Durant. Player coach is in some pain. They'll be in more pain if Cleveland finishes this attack. They do not. Jeff Robin looking to get it Durant. They need him on the carpet.
He's trying to walk it off. He got whacked there by Schmetzer.
Tanek creating the space. He can't make the turn. He stays with it. David Doyle. Doyle for the ambush. Off the boards, and they were in the box, and Ed couldn't get free.
And you saw Otto get out of the way of that ball coming off the back wall.
They felt that already. Kevin Hundell sweeps it up. But Schmetzer scissors it back to Otto Orr. 7:56 left in this game. Cleveland 18, St. Louis 14. Game 2, NPSL Finals. Ricochet off the board. St. Louis controls. Tanek. Kevin Hundell. Ryerson pulls him down. Or bangs him down. It'll be a free kick for St. Louis. Rich Ryerson to Cleveland.
And Daryl Durant back on the field, so he's all right.
Now Ryerson with the bump. Daryl Durant, so he's okay, the player coach. Along the boards. Mark Moser. Moser fires. Good defense on Cleveland. Real good defense. They're getting back on the ball tonight.
Hey, look at Daryl Durant. You know, you've got to wonder why a player of his caliber has never been given strong consideration for the national team, Dave. They're one of America's finest players.
That's a real good point. Veteran. Of course, this is a World Cup year as the NPSL celebrates 10 years of balls of fire excitement. David Doyle. Durant in the corner. The header skims off Moser. The follow-up by Hundell. Doyle can't handle the ricochet. Doyle the juggle over the head. Durant chest traps. 7 minutes left. 18-14. Cleveland leads St. Louis. Hometown ambush, one game, 26-6. David Doyle. Good defense by Tommy Tanner. Daryl Durant for the ambush. Mark Moser posted up in the box. Hector Marinel pressure, but Steve Kuntz is able to handle it. Kuntz uses that 6'5" body, gets into the corner. The ricochet, here comes Daryl Durant. It's blocked by Mark Thomas. Kuntz gets in front of him. Kuntz stays with it. Durant works the through. David Doyle, the shot blocked by Taylor.
Oh, what a big save by Orf on Durant.
Well, they're giving it up tonight. And a card.
Watch the save here first by Orb. And then just after that, Mark Thomas pulled down. It's going to be a shootout and power play for Cleveland.
Cleveland 18, St. Louis 14. Balls of fire. We're coming back.
St. Louis penalty. Number 3, Steve Jones, 2 minutes for holding.
Back in St. Louis, Zoran Karic converts the shootout. 1-point goal. Makes it 19-14. With 6:10 left. Mark Thomas was taken down. George Hoff and the Cleveland owners celebrating. With 6:10 left here in the fourth quarter, Jeff Robin in the ambush now find themselves down by 5 points, and they have to kill off a 2-minute power play. Look at Zoran Karic.
And that's what makes Zoran such a special player. He knows when to strike the ball with full force and when to finesse it. And for the second time tonight, you saw him lift it over Robin's shoulder.
Fourth quarter here on ESPN, Game 2 NPSL Final Series. St. Louis ambush in the white jerseys, Cleveland in the red. George Fernandez. Now to Tenet for the St. Louis ambush. 1:43 left on the power play. It's Cleveland's power play.
St. Louis needs to kill this penalty and then get a timeout and get that 6-attacker run.
All right, win in St. Louis. Do as the NPSL does. It's simple. You stay at the official NPSL hotel in St. Louis, the Harley of St. Louis, 314-291-6800. It's a great place to stay in St. Louis, convenient to everywhere, including the airport. Sean Medved for the Crunch. It's the Crunch, the red team, with the man advantage. Marinero. Mark Thomas hanging around the far post.
You see Cleveland's going to play with this power play well out. They don't want to give up a shorthanded goal here, Dave. Kill as much of the clock as they can and then try to score in the last minute on this power play.
The amazing thing, the whole Cleveland momentum swing started after St. Louis tied it up, and this place was celebrating. And Andy Schmetzer came with a big goal. Speaking of which, Schmetzer with that shot. 42 seconds on the power play. Undealt. Now, Otto is out, but St. Louis can't come up with it. 33 seconds on the power play. Steve Kuntz in the penalty box for the St. Louis ambush. So you think after this power play, if St. Louis kills it, they may go to the 6th attack?
I would think right after it, as soon as Robin would get the ball, they would take a timeout.
Marinero in the corner, the return to Marinero. 9 seconds on the power play. 5 seconds. Karic.
St. Louis penalty has expired.
Teams it even strength. 4 minutes left in the game. Karic, Robin the save.
Right on, saved by Robin.
Cleveland leads St. Louis 19-14. Robin, Tenek, the chest trap. David Doyle now on the ball. Doyle the shot. Dev Reeves knifing through. Cleveland sweeps away. 3:40 left.
Darryl probably wait till about the 3-minute mark to get his timeout.
Duran, Tenek for the ambush. Nice moves by Eck. Eck, it's blocked by Fernandez. St. Louis' 6th attacker is, well, that's Bill Cowie, actually, the goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper for St. Louis. The Crunch lead the ambush 19-14.
And they're going to change him on the fly, Dave.
Jeff Robin comes out. David Doyle comes in. Now the 6th attacker. It's David Doyle. The ambush.
6th attacker for St. Louis, number 11, David Doyle.
Well, the man in the yellow jersey is David Doyle. He is the 6th attacker for St. Louis.
Get out!
And there you see him in your screen. Doyle, the chip looking for Duran off Carbonero will be a corner kick, St. Louis. 2 minutes, 36 seconds left. The Cleveland Crunch lead the St. Louis Ambush 19-14. There's a look at Doyle. Had 13 points in game one, but he's been somewhat quieter tonight. Daryl Duran will take the corner. Joe Reiniger. The Hundelt. Back to Reiniger. Look at the ambush, sixth attacker situation. 2:22 left, Doyle. Daryl Duran, the shot off the save. Doyle, the sixth attacker, sends one. That'll be a goal kick coming up for Cleveland with 2:12 left. On the restart, Hundelt, Reiniger. And a goal kick again for Cleveland.
Now you look at Joe Reiniger. You can't say enough about the job Otto Orff has done tonight for the Crunch. Bouncing back from a shaky game one. And he's been outstanding here tonight.
Otto Orff, indeed, coming back from a tough start in game one. Look at Abe Huapa, the owner of the Ambush. The Crunch now will have executed the split if they can hold off in the next 2 minutes, and then the next two games will be in Cleveland, games 3 and 4. If game 5 is necessary, it's back here in St. Louis. Karich, Marinero, minute 47 left. Marinero for Cleveland in the red. For Carbonero, Zoran Karich. Tim team up, and the Crunch working around. Fernandez. Tedek. Eck knocks it back, and Doyle is able to use his hands. He's the sixth attack. Well, the Ambush with a minute 18 left. Doyle. It's blocked by Thomas. Marinero sends it upfield. It's in the net. That'll be a 2-point goal because it was beyond midfield, and satisfaction for the Crunch. They now go ahead 21-14. A minute 6 left in game 2. It's Cleveland 21, St. Louis 14. We're coming back.
Can make a world of difference.
Dave Johnson, Art Kramer, look at the Cleveland Crunch. Sensing a victory here in game 2 of the NPSL Finals. Hector Marinero.
Yeah, 4 goals tonight for Hector. 8 points on the afternoon. 8 points for the Z-Man. So the dynamic duo do it here in game 2.
Well, big crowd here in St. Louis tonight. It looks like they may go home disappointed. Kevin Hundelt. Mark Moser, it's blocked. Reiniger. Hundelt, Orff the save. Daryl Duran, Orff the save. 38 seconds left. In St. Louis won game 1, 26-6. Cleveland leads here 21-14.
It'll be interesting to see the extent of that injury to Steve Maurer for the rest of this series. The big St. Louis forward injured in the second quarter.
It's a good point. The Ambush had to go without their third target man. Orff snares it with 15 seconds. Had to go without their third target man for the entire second half. The header, 7 seconds left, and the series is going to Cleveland for game 3.
And there's no better feeling than winning on the road.
And of course, the opposite end of that is what St. Louis is feeling right now. So, George Hoffman, the owner of the Crunch, he's been down this road before. Last year, Cleveland lost to Kansas City in the NPSL Finals. Dr. Abe Huapa, he couldn't keep a tie on during this contest, but he'll be in Cleveland for game 3. This guy came up big tonight after a dismal game 1. Daryl Duran will have to gather up his troops for game 3, the player coach. It was a true indoor soccer battle tonight, but now game 3, the focus, and Hector Marinero pointing the way back to Cleveland. So, again, the final tonight, the Cleveland Crunch defeat the St. Louis Ambush 21-14. The NPSL Final Series now tied at 1 game apiece. For Art Kramer, this is Dave Johnson. Good night. We'll see you for Game 3.
The 5,000 horsepower of Top Fuel Eliminator